Hey, so the narc is gone again. He's going to be gone for a while. Today, I'm reflecting. I know I talk a lot of shit about the narc, but today, especially, I'm kind of feeling a little bit of compassion. He really looked uncomfortable today, like just in his own narcness. He didn't have anywhere to get energy from. I completely shut it down. It's unfortunate being, I don't know what to describe that situation. I don't really have that in my mind right now. What I'm more thinking about is just not having a source or connection to source and being cut off from it by his own religion and upbringing and very nature, being disconnected by the patriarchal society, the patriarchal run consumer capitalist. Back through our history as humans, the problems that we're discovering now with everything are showing themselves, but it's revealing that they're all interwoven. And the more I learn about the Sophia perspective and everything, the more I'm seeing that, holy shit, it's all tied together. And I'm starting to realize that, as much fun as it is to make fun of our oppressors, like the narc, they do deserve a little bit of compassion too, because they know not what they are. They're ignorant, and I don't know if I've written article can we fault the ignorant narcissist, and all that. I've definitely questioned this before, but today especially I could see just because today's his family, my side, that side family's Christmas get together with my grandma and stuff, and he didn't even want to tell me about it. He's up early showering and earlier than normal, and I got up and said good morning, and he didn't even really want to tell me what was going on, but then he finally did. He said, yeah, it's Christmas, because he knows I'm not welcome there. And he didn't want to tell me about it, and it looked like he didn't even really want to go. He knows what it's like after I don't want to sound like I'm conceited or anything, but once he is around my presence of grounding and my energy the way that it is, my healing presence, even though I'm not directly healing him, I'm just cutting him off from free energy that would feed into his narcissism. But at the same time, I have a healing presence. Just being around me in silence is healing. But not to sound conceited or anything, it's the damn truth. If you know, you know. But I could see his dread that he really did not want to be going. Only he feels obligated to these things. And I felt bad because he knows that at those functions, he's usually the butt of the joke. Because he's probably the most asleep of the whole family. He's the most confined and constricted and in his little box, in his little world, in his, believing he's got to go to church every Sunday. His world is very dominated by requirements and all that, what he calls requirements. And scripts and, all that stuff. So, I saw a post of this woman talking about, why do my kids smell funky when they come home from school? And she didn't say school, she just said come home, but I assumed school, and I said it's fear. Literally, you can smell fear on people, guaranteed. I can smell it on him on every Sunday. Literally, there's a different smell. And after the shower and he comes out of the bath, I can smell it. And it's on Sunday, go figure, right before church. Of course it's fear. And on special days, like if he's told he's got to work overtime or whatever, it's like there's certain smells. And, you know, and it's that funk. It's like a musk, it's not like a rotten bacterial odor. It's more of a musk hormonal smell, kind of like, and it's fear. And so, I responded to her post like, yeah, it's fear. Your kids are feeling fear because they're literally being trained how to be slaves to the system in school all day. And, you know, if they're feeling fear, it's because, you know, they're doing their job, I guess. But so, I mean, I could just see it on him in his mannerisms, and he just didn't want to be participating today. And then it made me feel kind of bad because I'm like, you know, I just wish that he didn't have to participate even in this thing that we've called Christmas, because learning more about that is, you know, it's almost like his essence being connected to the healing nature of my soul, and, you know, living together, our souls are in communication in the auric field, and him having to rip himself away from that and go and participate in a ritual that's literally representing not what he thinks it is, what his vessel thinks it is. And so, you know, our egos are taught, oh, it's this way, it's this way, it's this way. But really, a lot of these rituals and things that we do are meant to distort and corrupt and knowing that what we're doing in the physicality through our egos, what it actually means, the spiritual implications of a lot of the rituals and stuff that we're taught to do are end up being detrimental and like you know, working against us. And so I've been able to remain pure from this whole thing, from this participation in Thanksgiving, from Black Friday, mass blackout the system. And I'm like, mass blackout the system all the way through Christmas, really, because, you know, it's a time of healing and reflection. And even Mads today, she came out with another one saying, don't make New Year's resolutions. You're supposed to be healing inner work right now, digging deep and sowing seeds. It's not time for rebirth yet, but yet they force you to think it is. And then to make these decisions at a time when you should be reflecting, and that way the decisions that you make are not likely to be successful. And then when it comes time to when you should be expecting to see results and you don't, because it's not the time to, and then you're expecting it, so then you feel bad for not seeing results, so then you go and consume. And a lot of times it's the things that you were trying to make better in your life that are offered to you now through buy this or buy that and feel better, and, you know, heal your issues or take care of your problems, you know, solve your problems. So, but anyway, I just wanted to come on and just say, like, I'm definitely feeling the compassion today. I did not like seeing that reaction. I didn't smell the fear like usual, but it was just one of those reluctance kind of things. Like, not that he'd just rather sit here bored all day on his Saturday, but he just didn't want to go to that den, that pit of vipers of the narcissistic family that they are. I mean, that's where we learned it from, of course, where he learned it from, and I through him. But I always avoided it all my life. I never wanted to go there. Like, I avoided that side of the family so much my whole life, like, for reasons. And I don't know, maybe they're starting to show him to him now exactly, or maybe he always saw it, exactly what those people were, but try to like find ways of not fitting in, but like coping and kind of defense mechanisms of being able to survive in that pit of vipers. Like, you got to be able to swim and tread water at least, otherwise, you know, they'll eat you alive. So you develop your own little, I don't know, I hate to say it, but you develop your own little narcissistic ways to survive. And against a more cunning narcissist, of course, they're not going to be effective. They're only effective if they let it be effective. I mean, they could really get in there on some things, but, you know, if they wanted to. Otherwise, they see you being a good little narcissist, and they're like, oh yeah, well, my tactics are, you know, so whatever. I don't mean to get into that right now, but I just wanted to spread the awareness and the perspective on just allowing a different perspective into your, because like I used to like I still will. We can still talk shit about the narc because he'll still be playing games. I mean, it's not like he's healed all of a sudden or anything. And his games do piss me off sometimes. In fact, even yesterday, I was thinking about some of the games that I've seen recently. Like, you'd think that after our last big discussion about things, and when I uncovered the resentments and stuff, that things would have got better. But since then, the games just got more complex. So there's that going on in the underlying, but you can at least, there's always a duality to things. Like, there's still that 10-year-old boy inside of him that's scared and cut off from source and energy and understanding of the way that the world actually is. So like, his inner soul knows truth, right? But his vessel has been tricked into this other thing that is literally conflicting with like, you want to talk about what causes disease? Make someone do something that's in conflict with their own soul and watch it manifest in the physical. I wish I had some good examples, but I might just end on that one. Let that reflect, let it sink in and brew, because that literally is what most of our reality and like customs are founded in, is a conflict with inner soul that I'm learning. Even the religious ones, like Mads, she's awesome, but she's saying the Sophia, the perspective, that Christmas and winter is the time of death, not rebirth, not birth. And that spring is the time of birth, not death. And by conflicting those, you're just starting the confusion and starting the distortion. And from there, it's getting us to celebrate birth during a time of death and getting us to celebrate death during a time of birth. Like, you know, and then completing the rituals that go along with it. And it goes on from there. But just knowing that, and knowing that we've been trained and programmed and taught to be in conflict with our soul nature this whole time, from back to the beginning as we know it, really. And I've seen so many articles, we gotta hold them accountable, we gotta hold them accountable. And it's like, yes, but we do have to remember compassion, because inside they're just as innocent. They're so innocent. In fact, like, it almost makes me feel worse for them, because they're so trapped inside their world of programming, and the programming is the evil. Like, it's not them in a sense. It's the evil that programmed them to be actually so disconnected from themselves that they are in internal conflict, where, their true soul nature knows that there's something so wrong with this, and it's why they are so reactive to things and are so, freaking out all the time, and they smell like fear and just all this stuff, because they're so scared and they don't know any better, and they can't be shown because they've been programmed to be resistant to truth. So it's like, it's frustrating. It makes you want to wring their necks and just, snap them out of it. Or a lot of times the things that they do and the ideologies that they support, it makes you want to delete them. But we got to have compassion, because they know not what they do. They really don't. They're innocent children. They're more innocent than, they're more childlike than anyone else, because they don't understand anything beyond or anything on a more complex level, on this level. And so they have a virgin perspective on things. Maybe they haven't been exposed to the trauma, the same trauma. They definitely haven't been able to heal from the trauma. They've taken whatever trauma that they have, and were taught that the way to deal with it is to internalize it and not show it to the world, not bring it out into the light where it can be healed, but to keep it inside and keep it eating, festering on them. They're taught to be ignorant of themselves and their own feelings, so they can't acknowledge. They're literally ignoring their own feelings. And if no one is there to hear their actual feelings, they're screaming inside. And it's maybe why, because of all the pain that they're going through, why they feel a little bit better seeing pain in others. It's sad to say, but it makes them feel like, oh, my pain isn't as bad. Like, oh shit, there's someone suffering more than me. I feel better about myself because my pain is so bad. The reason why they see others' pain, seeing others in pain, reminds them that theirs isn't as bad. So they like to see that others in worse situations than them, because they don't know what to do about their own situation to make it any better for themselves. So seeing others in worse situations makes theirs seem not as bad, because they can't share their pain. They haven't brought it to the surface, to the light, and been able to separate themselves from it. They identify with their pain. It's really sad. I mean, my true enemy is the distortion and the chaos in this world. Even when you want to think about who is your enemy, oh, it's the narcissistic, evil, capitalist, Christian, all the worst things about our reality right now. It's the evil, genocidal the Israel thing, us sending our money over for genocide, all these evils that are taking place right now. You want to blame that, but how much can we really blame the fellow human instead of just blaming the ignorance and the obfuscation that caused them to do what they're doing? I really don't know what it's going to take to remedy this, because I see it, but my situation and my story is different than others. And someone like, how are we going to wake up other people like that are in those ideologies, that are ignorant to their own inner truth and truth in general, and are ignorant to all these things and are programmed to be resistant to it? Even when you're in their face telling them about it, they'll sit there and vehemently deny and adamantly pursue your silence. What do you do then? Do you treat them like the demon that they're behaving like? Literally? Or how do you have compassion and still, you want to remove the ignorance from the earth, but the ignorance is trained to be resistant to truth. So it's like, in order to remove it, you either got to wake it up or what? That's where I don't know, because they don't deserve it. But, or do they, right? That's the to be or not to be. It's the ultimate of all questions. It's the duality of things. It's how do you stop it while also showing compassion and understanding and the opportunity for rehabilitation, rejuvenation, renewal, like the phoenix. How do you give them their phoenix moment if they're so ignorant to it they won't accept any sort of a dying or any burning, like to be reborn from the ashes? Like, they won't accept it. They won't accept that there's a problem, even though they're screaming inside, there's something wrong here. But they don't know what it is, so they're scared. But they keep going along with it because they were programmed to. It's like the ultimate soul trap. How do we get through to people like that? Do we get through to people like that? Or are we just doomed to be an awakened soul that is now free, but not free from their oppressive system? I mean, we are free, but there are still confinements that would otherwise prevent us from doing what we truly desire and seeing the change that we desire in the world. We can't have ultimate, everything can't be perfect, because there must be the duality, the yin and the yang. But for all the good that is in the world, there's that opposite swing of evil, right? Or, there must be that balance. So where do we go from here? What does this mean if we are able to actually help these people and awaken them and get on track as far as humanity goes? Does that mean that we're going to end up, that some sort of other unspeakable evil is going to manifest in its place to balance things out. This is where I'm going to leave it, because these are the questions we need to ponder on. But I don't know. I'm going to get to my workout and my shower, and thanks for stopping in for another one. I didn't expect it to go this long, but I just had to come on and say that about that. So check out my other videos though about New Earth Commerce and awakening, new conscious credit scores, and all the other stuff. Like they're all good. They all got, and some of them, like part number 4 is better than part number 1. Or I had to break it up because TikTok is only 10-minute segments, and I'm used to shooting long form like YouTube. So when they get broken up, the message kind of gets broken up with it. So if you can, and you can justify the time, like, you know, I'd appreciate it if you sit down and just, like, if you're gonna watch a theme, and I try to keep them by theme and banners. So each cover that I make, it'll all have the same banner for a series, and that'll be like 1 through 4, 1 through 6 sometimes. But the ideas within that series are gonna be scattered, unfortunately, because that's just how my mind works. So section number 1 might just be me talking about coffee, but later on in that series, you'll get to the real good stuff, and then it gets like 5 views. Number 2 or 3 in the series, it's like shit, that's where the best parts were. And I don't know. So just so you know how my TikToks are kind of working these days. But anyway, thanks for checking it out, and until next time, never stop spreading your light. I love you.